Hello and welcome to English Capsules. For those who can wait, here's our espresso capsule. On today's espresso capsule, sounds V and F.
Okay, everyone, hello and welcome one more time to one of our sound capsules. So, today we are going to try to tackle the problem with the TH sounds in English, right?
Right.
This can be particularly challenging for us Spanish speakers because we don't normally find these sounds naturally in our language. We have found some equivalents, not ideals, but well, for you to more or less have an idea. But these sounds can be quite tricky, right?
Really tricky. And what happens in my experience is that there are many students who don't even listen to the difference. That's why they cannot reproduce the sound, or they are like embarrassed of saying them because there is one of them in which you have to put your tongue out in a way. So it's like they are embarrassed. So they choose to replace it with other letters from our sounds in Spanish, which is a mistake in a way because you end up saying another word.
So maybe you don't know, but TH sound has two different pronunciations in English. Let's start with that, right? They look like all the words are the same, but they are not actually. So today, instead of asking for a mirror for you to see the pronunciation, you're going to need your fingers this time, okay? So you're going to place your fingers in your throat and you're going to try to feel your vocal cords. So one of these sounds is going to produce a vibration as you pronounce it, and the other one is not. The air is going to pass through and it's not going to produce any vibration in the vocal cords. So one thing that you can do is pause it after I pronounce them and you check yourselves, right? So you can copy the word. So we have father, weather, breathe. And then we have breath, three, and thin. So if you pronounce those those two groups of words, you're going to notice the difference between the ones that vibrate and the ones that don't. So those are two different ways of pronouncing the TH.
If we are if you are looking for something similar, a similar sound in Spanish for these two in English, we can say that the first sound, like in father, is very similar to letter D in Spanish. Similar, not the same. Let's remember that, right? So father, weather. In the other case, what I tell my students is that what we have to produce is like letter Z, but like in Spain, like your tongue needs to come out your mouth. So you say three, for instance.
So we were discussing this before, and I was telling you that I consider that more, or maybe this is going to help students from this side, from the Spanish side, that is not necessarily so much as a Z, because that one kind of vibrates when you pronounce it in Spanish, but it's more similar to the sound of C. So when we say things like, okay, we say plaza, but then we say canción. So the sound there is slightly different. So it's more similar to that C sound. Yes?
Okay, so what we will do now is give you like some minimal pairs, they are called. It's words which sound similarly, but with a slight difference. Okay? For example, the first pair is going to be boat and both.
Then we have tank and thank.
The following is taught and thought.
Okay, and finally we have team and theme.
Mhm.
So if you pay attention, if you pronounce these words, your tongue goes up in your mouth. So you say like theme. You're rolling your tongue against your upper teeth.
Okay, then we have a second group of examples, now with the other sound.
Though and though.
They, they.
Worthy, worthy. So this is the
Okay.
one that we were mentioning, that you need to stick out your tongue.
Don't be embarrassed, don't be afraid. So these are all tips that have helped us in our learning when we were students. One last thing that we want to mention is that in many examples, when you have a word that starts with th, and before that you have another word, maybe that word helps in the placing of the tongue and the teeth. Particularly, we are talking about two letters, letter N and letter T. For example, in there, in that, at the. So the letters N and T before TH in some words makes it easy or easier to pronounce.
So I was also mentioning that for me, this was a problem that I wasn't aware of until I started university and we had pronunciation, right? We had phonetics. So one thing that really helped me was to make the sound conscious. Okay? So for me, it was very common to pronounce something, for instance. So I started going like, okay, my brain needs to stop in the middle of the word, articulate, and then pronounce. So then I went from something to something. Of course, at the beginning it wasn't easy making this sound conscious, and I must have sound like a stupid person because sometimes I would stop like right in the middle of the word. But eventually this became like a practice, let's say. So eventually I didn't need to stop anymore and I could say it without having problems. Yes. So making the mistake conscious and try to find a way to remedy is a very nice practice. So record yourselves, practice, use your mouth, as we said, with a vibration or even a mirror to see how you're articulating.
Okay, so before we go, remember to subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Give love to our content and spread the word to help our channel grow.
Also remember that you can rate our episodes and comment on each capsule. Activate the bell so that you know when our next capsule is out. And take a look at the description and our Instagram account to take more advantage of our content.
Okay, so that's all for today. Bye for now.
Bye.